Okay, so today I have some ingredients so that we can do a pan-seared salmon filet, and it's a piece of the filet. It will be on seared vegetables, pan-seared vegetables, with a grapefruit marmalade. So this isn't the normal spot. I'm really quite tall, well, average, but the kitchen is in full swing at the moment, so we don't want to interrupt them. So going to throw it all together. Pretty much have prepared everything so far. All right, so, but there will be a couple of things, couple of pointers that I'm going to point out and show how to do it. This is really a simple meal once you've got everything prepared. The longest thing to make would be the grapefruit marmalade, which you could do 4 hours ahead of time, or you could do it the day before. And it has a hold time, it has a sugar base, it has citrus, so it will hold for a couple of weeks under refrigeration. To go quickly over what I did for the grapefruit marmalade, this is the grapefruit marmalade here. It really is grapefruit segments, grapefruit juice, sugar, and a little bit of Creole seasoning and some freshly chopped chives, and that's it. And really nice on seafood, pork, anything like that. So to get that like that, first up, I'm going to show you how I segmented. Key important is to make sure that you use the correct knife for the job. This is not a kitchen knife, a professional knife. This is actually a standard, everyday kitchen knife that you could buy in a shop, Macy's, whatever. Another thing is to make sure you have a sharp knife. All right, there's nothing worse than a not sharp knife. This is a sharpening steel, an oval shaped one. I always make sure that when I'm using a knife, I'll sharpen it first. So grapefruit, standard grapefruit. First up, we're just going to take the skin off, top and bottom. Then we're going to take off the skin and the pith, which is the white around that. How we do that, you hold it flat, get the knife, and run it down. If you miss the pith, you can go back. We don't want the white part, which is pith, P-I-T-H. It's bitter. We're not throwing the skins away either, because as you can see, there's grapefruit on there. We're going to squeeze the juice out of that. So we just go all the way around. Now, how I got the segments out of there, I'll just get that off. In between each segment is the membrane. And how you get those segments out, you follow down, let your knife run down gently while you're holding this, down one side, and then we go the other one. And there we go. Complete, pure grapefruit. And while you have that first one, it's a lot easier to go from there. So we go to the next membrane, fold it over, grab it with your thumb, run that down, and there we go. That's what's in there. You don't discard any of the core membrane or the skins, because the juice that comes out of that and out of the skins, we just hold and we use all of that. We squeeze that out into the pot. So that's how you get the segments out for the grapefruit marmalade. So first up, what we'll do is we're going to sear off the salmon. We have a little portable burner here. Normally, I have at home, and we have in the kitchen, we actually have pans that have a complete metal handle without plastic. So I'll sear off the salmon fillet in the pan, and then I'll put, to finish the cooking on both sides, I'll then put the whole pan in the oven. All right. If you don't have that, I like to make sure you have a little pan, little tray, put a bit of parchment paper on it, put the salmon fillet when you finish browning it onto there and finish in the oven. It'll take 6-7 minutes at the very most, depending also on how you like your salmon cooked. If you like it rare, medium rare, probably take 3-4 minutes. So this is a piece of salmon that's been portioned. All we're going to do, a little bit of seasoning, just on both sides. So I like to cook, I always cook with a healthier aspect in mind, which is one of my specialties, healthy alternatives. So that means high heat, quick cooking, so you're locking in all the nutrients, but we don't want to short coast on the flavour. So I have 2 bottles here. 1, vegetable oil. We need that when we're cooking because it has a high smoking point. All right. But 2, I have clarified butter in here, which is where the actual milk and the fat have been separated, so you get the flavour of the butter, but using a little bit as not so much, and you got a higher cooking temperature. So first, I've had the pan on for a couple of minutes. We want it nice and hot. We just want a little bit of oil in there, and we just want a little bit of butter. Nice hot pan. Very careful with a hot pan. We're always going to put in the presentation side first. And this is a non-stick pan. We want a nice colour on it. With a non-stick pan, it's important that we don't use metal utensils. Right, so I have it seared on one side. Oh, fire. That's another reason why I like being a chef. That beautiful sear on that side. So we're just going to sear it on the other side. Then it will go on this pan straight into the oven. And that's it. Look at that beautiful colour. That's why we wanted to sear it first. This is not even rare. This is probably blue, what we call blue. It's just been seared on the outside. It's raw in the middle. All right, so we've got the salmon in the oven. So now we're going to do our seared pan vegetables. I have a pan on. I'm just going to have it hot. We are putting in a little bit of oil. I have vegetables ready to go. We want a nice hot pan. And at the moment I have a selection of vegetables. Nice and vibrant and bright. We've got green beans that have just been trimmed. We've got fresh asparagus. We have some fresh cremini mushrooms, very similar to portobello. We've got some French eschalots, which is a very nice onion. And I like onion in a stir fry, releases sugars, so it's sweet. We also have some cherry tomatoes that have been sliced. So I've got a nice hot pan. We're going to start with the hard vegetables first. Now I have in here a little bottle of water, all right, because stir fry is a high heat and then heating with water, and that will actually steam the vegetables. We want a nice little bit of a crunch, but we don't want raw. So get the beans in first. While that's in there, we want to add our onions. You can hear that nice pop and sizzle. And put our asparagus in. We have just a little bit of seasoning, and I also have a ground vegetable base that's gluten and vegan free. So it's ground vegetables, mirepoix, which is carrots, onions, celery. It's always a standard in any soup. It just adds a little bit of depth and body. So we're getting a nice little bit of just colour, or nice hot pan. Now we're going to put the mushrooms in. And when I put the mushrooms in, I want just a little bit of that clarified butter. Mushrooms will absorb that nice flavour. We don't want too much. The tomatoes are the last thing that are going to go in. But I also have here fresh lime. Fresh lime is beautiful. This is called a microplane. It's how we get fine zest off the outside of any citrus. So I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to run the citrus seafood like a marriage made in heaven. And all I'm doing is taking that outside zest off, the outside of the peel, and the lime is not going to go to waste. So we've got that. Nice high heat. We want it straight in the middle. Now, trick with limes to get the most juice, or any citrus actually, is to roll it. Loosens up all the membrane. We're then going to cut in half, squeeze. So that beautiful aroma. I'm just going to hit with a little bit of water. It will take off everything on the bottom of the pan, what we call deglaze, and just give a nice final steam to the vegetables. And while we do that, I'm going to throw the tomatoes. All we want to do is just warm them through. We don't want to cook them where they'll start to collapse. And you can see that pop of colour in there. Just going to evaporate all that liquid that's in there. You can hear it all sizzling away now. Okay, so we just sauteed off the vegetables, placed them on the plate, and grabbed the salmon, which was cooked, and then placed it on top, and then the grapefruit marmalade. It's just been spooned on top, and then just drizzled around. And that is pan-seared salmon fillet with seared vegetables with a grapefruit marmalade.
Well, this is my lucky day. I'm going to test Joanne's seared salmon with grapefruit marmalade. Oh, wow. This is delicious. Absolutely delicious. The marmalade is just perfect. Bon appetit.